Oh no! Okay. Sum and difference of cubes. And this method is a shortcut for factoring binomials that are sums or differences of perfect cubes. We've had a very similar thing for difference of squares. The only difference here is difference of squares was a difference and only difference, meaning subtraction, and they were perfect squares. Here, it could be plus in the middle, it could be minus in the middle. Either one's going to be fine. And then, of course, both terms have to be perfect cubes. You can find the cube root of them. So the two formulas for them, the two shortcuts for them are right here. Sum of cubes, difference of cubes. And so, a cubed plus b cubed, that's what it looks like. Difference of cubes, a cubed minus b cubed, that's what it looks like. And this is just one of those things you gotta sit and you gotta do, practice enough time so you start to learn it and memorize it. Now there is a way to help remember some of the signs that you're looking in here at, and it's so SOAP is a little mnemonic to help you remember the signs within this big mess of a formula. SOAP stands for same, opposite, always positive. That refers to the signs. So whether or not you're talking about plus or minus, a sum or a difference of cubes, then what you fill in there for your signs is it's always going to be the same sign here first. So if it's plus, then this is a plus here. You see that? Okay. Same sign. And then after the a squared part, it's always the opposite sign. So where this was a plus, this is a minus. Where this was a minus, this was a plus. And then after the AB term, it's just always positive. This is always a plus no matter what right here. So now we just need to see how this all gets used. So if I want to factor this, then first of all, are they both perfect cubes? X cubed, yep. 8, yep. Both of them are perfect cubes. What are the cube root of these things? Well, the cube root of x cubed is x, and the cube root of 8 is 2. I'm going to write those things down for a second because I'm going to use them. X and 2. Okay. Now then, I'm going to fill into my little template, basically. That's a good word to use there, template. Then the first thing is A and B, or you might think of this as X and 2. And remember, the first parentheses is always the same sign. Yeah, SOAP, S-O-A-P. The first one is always the same sign. So it's going to be a plus 2 right there. Then to start it off here, it's my a squared. A is my x, so x squared. And now it's going to be the opposite sign. And then it's going to be a times b here. Well, a times b is x times 2, so that's 2x. And then the last thing is it's always going to be a plus. So that's going to be plus 2 squared, so that's 4. And it's factored. That's it. That's done. That's the thing about this. This is just like how difference of squares is a plus b, a minus b, and it's just an automatic thing. Well, the same thing is true for sum and difference of cubes. There's a little bit more work to it, obviously, but with enough practice, you just start to memorize it. Okay, here a little bit more complicated, but let's figure out, are these things perfect cubes? 8 is a perfect cube, y cubed is a perfect cube, and 27, all perfect cubes. So let's write down what their cube roots are, because we need to use them. The cube root of this first term is 2y, and the cube root of the second term is 3. And now I'm going to use those two terms. I'm going to use that to fill in my template. So the first part of the template is just a plus b. I'm sorry, a same sign as b. Well, the sign is minus. So my first thing a, which is 2y. My second thing b, which is 3. I don't know, maybe that would help if I wrote a equals this and b equals that, because that's going back to this. That's where I'm getting my a and my b from. That's what I mean. Okay, so a minus b, because it's the same sign, 2y minus 3, and then my a term squared, so 2y squared It's not just 2y squared, it's 4y squared, because you have to square the whole thing. So be careful about stuff like that. Now it's going to be the opposite sign, so that's a plus. And then multiply these two things together. 2y times 3 is 6y. And then always positive, and square the last thing, which is 9. Done. So again, just looking back at the notes, this is just a template. Once I know what A and B are, I just fill them in to these spaces, multiply things out, simplify things, etc. And I just got to make sure that my signs match up correctly. Okay, now on this one, no, these are not a difference of cubes. These are not cubes. But they do have a common factor. They're both divisible by 5, and they both share an x. So the first thing I need to do here is pull out the 5x. When I do that, it looks like it would leave me with an x cubed, and 40x divided by 5x would just be 8. Now, this part is a difference of cubes, so my a would be just x, and my b would be 2. So now I'm going to use those things to fill in my gaps. Now I still have the 5x as my factor up front, but then the rest of it, I'll just fill in the blanks. So the first thing should be the same sign in the middle here, so that's going to be a minus, and then just a minus b, so that's x minus 2. And then my a squared, so that's x squared. The opposite sign, and then multiply a times b, so it's 2 times x, and then always positive, and the last term squared is 4. That's it. So again, you just need to look at this as a template that you're filling in the pieces, and the way you're going to memorize the template is just simply by doing it. So go back, practice these problems on your own, try to not look at the template if you can, and hopefully with a couple of practice problems you'll start to remember it.